What's going on YouTube? Adachi here, and yeah, I got my cam set up and working. I don't expect to see it too often, but I thought it would be appropriate because today we're going to be taking a look at the new director's letter. This is going to be the upcoming update for Tribe 9, the next big update, which includes the new story chapter, the new city, some new content, and I haven't looked at this yet. I have already seen the Neo Chiyoda trailer on stream, so I don't know where that is, so I can't link that, but I have already seen that, but I have not looked at this yet, so this is going to be pretty new and fresh to me. I'm on Reddit though, so I do happen to see some like pictured spoilers here and there, but other than like some small glimpses that I've just like quickly scrolled past, this is fresh and new for me. So let's just jump into it. This is Tribe 9's director, Soejima, thanking everybody for their patience for the new updates. We're going to be looking at Chapter 3, Dead History Comes for Vengeance. And since we already know that this is in Chiyoda, if you've seen the anime, Dead History, you know, that's, I think that's already pretty pointed right there. We see just some dialogue here, and a screenshot here. I'm going to do this a few times here. We're going to pull it up and we're going to zoom in to see if we can notice anything interesting, different. I'm not really seeing anything here. It is funny to see. Oh, I guess you've got full marks here, but level 8 battle pass on the admin account. That's kind of funny. But we can see the maids here, and we know that that's going to be an aesthetic with one of the new characters coming up. Not much else to see. This looks like one of those like little graffiti panels. Yeah, so this is the new graffiti. Looks like kind of like some magical girl type stuff. Looking like a Sailor Moon a little bit. But a new main story will be added. The city that the Trash Tribe will visit this time is Neo Chiyoda City, as we know. As the name Neo suggests, it is not the same Chiyoda City from the anime, but rather a region slightly removed from the central area of the former Chiyoda City that serves as the anime setting. In contrast to Chiyoda City's solemn atmosphere, you'll discover a unique world steeped in subculture. Which, as we know, spoilers, you know, it makes sense that there is a Neo Chiyoda. Chiyoda would have been, I mean, I guess this is many years in the future, so I guess it could have been Chiyoda, but interesting how they'll tackle that. The new numbers, Zenichi Magata. I love the tattoos. He's got a puppet face, you know, so it seems that he's probably wished for something along these lines to have his little puppet face going on. Who knows what that is, but maybe there's some hints there in his design. Usually in design and motifs, you'll see some hints there. He's even got like this little text tattoo along his arm here. And I was gonna say free feet pics, and then I see the tattoo truth there, and I'm just like, ugh. I'm into edgy characters, but that's new right there. In Neo Chiyoda City, a new number, Zenichi Magata, will appear before Yo and the others. Unlike other numbers they've encountered so far, Magata seems to be an opponent who strongly desires communication. Hope you'll pay close attention to this new way of interacting with the numbers and witness Trash Tribe's struggle as they navigate the unique XG of Neo Chiyoda City. So we can assume that, again, it's probably going to be some separation going on, and he's going to make it hard for Trash Tribe to communicate with each other. Just some little insights into the story. Speaking of, the mysterious Q, who seems to have a significant connection to Neo Chiyoda City, will be an important character in this chapter. Makes a lot of sense. Events in Chapter 3 are connected to the anime, and we recommend watching the Tribe 9 anime's limited time release, as it may allow you to enjoy this story even more deeply. Yeah, this is some big spoilers here. If you haven't seen the anime already, definitely should go check it out. I believe it's free on YouTube for a bit, and yeah, it'll dive more into some of the returning characters like Q and Kazuki, a little bit of Mita, and it's probably going to be a pretty good precursor going into Chapter 3. Alright, about the difficulty level. Heads up, the enemy levels in Neo Chiyoda City will be higher than in previous areas. I like that. You may find battles challenging if you've just completed Chapter 2, so, well, I haven't just completed Chapter 2, so we'll see how challenging they are. We recommend thoroughly upgrading your characters and cards before proceeding. Starting with Chapter 3, we've reduced the number of full marks gates that restrict story progression. Additionally, we've adjusted Chapter 1 and 2 to require fewer full mark stickers, making it easier to enjoy the story. That's great. I see a lot of people who complain when they hit those walls that, you know, they kind of just want to go through the game and they don't want to have to go and do a bunch of achievement hunting to go ahead and go further into the story. So that's definitely a good and welcome change as we go forward. And let's take a look at this screenshot here. Not really much to see. Looks like kind of the same pickups that you can get, trash can, the little lunch boxes. But we do see enemies that are recolored. Very, I don't know what to call this. It's not even really cyberpunk. I'm gonna call this like clown punk aesthetic with the palette choices here. But these do look like enemies that are just going to be recolored. This one, I can't tell if this is like more of like a regular grunt, just kind of themed differently for Neo Chiyoda, or if it's an entirely new enemy. I'm sure that there's going to be a couple of new enemies, but we're probably going to see a lot of like just recolored, more elite versions of units or enemies that we've already seen. Oh, and actually, I think there's also this right here. I can't really go any further than that. It looks like this is the portrait of the new maid character, and it is interesting because I think she has like a full, I don't know, I'd have to look at her design again. But I think she has like a full maid outfit, including some kind of like bonnet type thing. So it looks like she doesn't have anything on her head here, so interesting, interesting. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to go pulling for her. On the other hand, routes that are considered shortcuts in Chapter 3 will have gates that require a higher number of full mark stickers. These routes will also feature higher level enemies with challenging battles where we encourage you to unlock the new level cap. And I think this is something we already saw like coming. I believe the level cap is going to continue to increase as we progress in the story. And I think it makes sense. It's both bad and good. Bad because there's going to be constantly something newer to push, and it's going to be a bit more daunting when it comes to newer players jumping into the game. But I think it's also nice just to kind of give you something a little more to push forward as we progress with the game, you know, as far as upgrading our characters, which I think is personally welcome for me. Alright, strengthen your characters and explore Neo Chiyoda City after completing the main story. I'm definitely looking forward to the exploration. It's like one of my, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I really do enjoy the exploration of just going around the cities. I think they're all like very well crafted. They look, you know, beautiful, and it's fun to go through them and discover everything for the first time. So that's definitely going to be a big part for me. Furthermore, in Neo Chiyoda City, in addition to bosses and the story, new Patamon and Patamon substats will also be added. So let's take this image and we'll plug it into a translator. All right, first translation here. Hinagiku Akiba for the character that we're doing right now. Oh, you can see her right there. So I think that's the maid character. We see her down here. Anybody else there? No, I was hoping there'd be a little teaser there, but no. Nighthelm, this one didn't translate. Hopefully it shows up on the recording. It should, I think. HP up 4. And that's not important. What's important is this. I need to see what this is here. Alright, and taking a look at another translation, it says Kengeki, and that tells me basically nothing. It does have the little heart icon, so it's health related. I'd have to actually go into the game and look at all of like the heart icon substats, but it might be a new one. That'll be interesting. I won't say good or bad necessarily, but that will be interesting to see. The new PAR system, which we'll detail later in this letter. New PAR. Designed to ensure your carefully selected Patamon remain valuable over time. That's good. So I'm assuming they're probably going to add in some kind of an upgrade feature in some capacity to Patamon. We hope you'll enjoy experimenting with new combinations. Well, we saw all that coming. New playable character, Hinagiku Akiba. And yeah, she has this little cat ear bonnet thing. I don't know what this is. Headband, I guess. This one I haven't seen. Skill introduction, that'll be interesting. A new playable character, Hinagiku Akiba, joins the Synchro roster and update version 1.1.0, so she will be the first banner one. She's not the one I want the most. I like playing as the cool dudes. That's why I like Q so much. But I might pull for her. I don't know. We'll see how she looks. We'll look at her video in a sec. At first glance, she seems like an ordinary maid, but she appears to be related to the once prosperous Otori family. We hope you look forward to her role in Chapter 3. Very interesting to see that. Maybe she was in service to them, but the Otori family was the antagonist in the anime. So definitely interested in seeing that. Let's check this video out. Alright, I haven't really paid too much attention to her design beforehand, but she's got some big ass mechanic knuckles. That's cool. Hold up, she got like little VR goggles. Yeah, she's got these like purple shades. Maybe it's VR related, who knows? Oh, and the mech gauntlets like changed. I don't know if this is a skin or not, but... Or maybe it's just what happens when she goes into combat or something. But yeah, these are way different. Oh, that was... Okay, so I think the one mob we saw earlier is a new unit. This is like some kind of katana wielding enemy. And oh my gosh. I don't know if they took it into my consideration or not. I made this like offhanded comments when the reveal trailer came out for the official launch about how when you jump into combat, it's a little like I don't like it as much when you're just in this like kind of circle random arena and you don't really get to see like the whole setting. It's just like an off distance background and you're just on some flooring. But here you actually see, and maybe I'm being crazy, but here you actually see the buildings, you're on the street, the sidewalk and everything. Like you're actually in Neo Chiyoda, I assume here, and that's awesome. I love the setting here. But anyway, Ninja, she's got some kind of mechanic with a purple gauge on the side. She's shooting dudes. There's their ninja guy. Charge it. Wait. I'm sorry, clearing my throat in the middle of the video. You'll see me break a lot because I've just had this issue going on for a couple months now, but when executing a fully charged attack, gain a certain amount of fist ki upon performing the attack. Gain stacks even without hitting the target. Oh man, I might have to get this character. It already sounds kind of interesting. She had the basic combo. She has like this charge attack. I don't know if this is like considered, I guess we'll see in a minute if it's considered secondary or you hold down the basic. Looks like it has stages and it consumes stamina. Hold up. Go back one sec. I like the pose. That's great. When being attacked in the state, perform deflect. Oh! Hold up. That's crazy. I know it consumes stamina, but you just get a free counter out of nowhere just for holding this shit down? Is she like the new most busted character? Because you just can counter anything whenever you want? You don't need to learn timings, you just hold the bitch down? After successfully performing a deflect during a charge primary, you can perform the same attack as when fully charged. And gain a certain amount of physical. You can skip the charge entirely just by getting hit. That's crazy. Okay, so secondary is different. So that is holding down just her basic attack. That's cool. She has a charge and like a full-on regular combo. Track and rapidly approach the target to execute a powerful blow. Gain a certain amount of fist ki upon performing it. Well, now I know. I don't know how it didn't like click earlier. So the purple gauge is fist ki. Gain stacks even without hitting the target. Interesting. I kind of just glazed over this, but I guess even if you whiff entirely, you still just get to charge the gauge. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I missed really about it. I don't know. Let me go back and try and watch through it again. Just a big smash, and it does say it tracks, so it will jump you to the enemy. That's actually an important point. Let's go back to the basics, like the regular combo here. This is just kind of the preview. Let's go to the start of the primaries here. It's hard to tell because they're already in melee range. And then here they're just going to chop off the charge. I think the most important one is where they start off from. This might look a little annoying. Hard to tell. It does seem like just the first attack has good reach, but it's hard to tell if she did actually like move forward a bit. Counter is a counter. I love the poses she keeps doing. She's just flexing on him. Max of 300 stacks on her fist ki. All stacks are consumed upon activating her strategy. Gain stacks by executing a fully charged primary or secondary. Strategy: track and approach the target, swing both arms, perform an attack, make the enemy lose their balance more easily. So maybe like high break. She seems like maybe she'd be like just a solid breaker. I don't know, that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting here. I don't know, she just does like a big baseball swing with her hands. Grant all enemies attention while decreasing tension, I'm guessing? Oh no, defense. Okay, so it's a defense break on the ult and then taunts. I don't know if the taunts is important. It's, you know, still like usable with her secondary being able to get free counters. But the defense break is definitely nice. That means we have another source of defense breaking outside of just Geo. Although Geo's is super easy to access, it doesn't require an ult here. Actually, did they show tension? No. Nah, no tension shown there. Okay, well, you know, at first I was like, this might be one I want to skip, but now I'm like, she's kind of dope. I might actually want her. I'm looking forward to seeing like what kind of role she'll actually end up filling. An infighter who overwhelms enemies with her powerful primary attack and unique deflect mechanics. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. They're actually going to go even further in depth. Hinagiku's most distinctive feature is her charge attack, which can be unleashed by press and holding her primary attack. This action also has an integrated offense and defense capability. If she takes an enemy hit while charging, a deflect counter will activate. This ability may seem overpowered. Okay, yeah, it's exactly what I thought right away. We want to note that the deflect frames during a charge attack occur shortly after she begins charging, which means that if you want to be aggressive, you'll need to use regular deflects effectively instead. So it seems like she's only going to be able to counter during the first like startup of the attack. I guess we'll see when we actually get our hands on her. Hinagiku is a character who makes deflects easy to perform, even for players less comfortable with timing counterattacks. However, mastering her unique deflect abilities unlocks her potential for massive damage output, making her versatile across different playstyles. And I love countering, so definitely, I'm liking the design. Hinagiku's ultimate skill consumes tension by 100 and inflicts attention on all enemies. I stated it just recently in my Geo video. I don't know how much 10 tension is, so I don't know how much 100 is. Is that one level? Because if that's a level 1 ult, that's crazy that it will defense break on a level 1. Because any higher than that, it's not really going to be very consistent, but level 1 isn't bad. This effect allows Hinagiku to serve as a tank, protecting party members similar to Saigo and Q. This update will also introduce many additions that expand the synergy of hegemony tension cards, so we hope you'll enjoy experimenting with different builds. That's great. Hegemony is like, it changes any of like the regular taunts that characters have, like Saigo and Q. They have taunts, or Mita, now Hinagiku, and there are cards that change the taunt buff into, or the taunt debuff into hegemony, which I think it just like reduces damage you take and then something else. But there's also other cards that synergize with having hegemony and just giving you other boosts. Rift updates. That's going to be a big one. We've received extensive feedback about the difficulty of enjoying rifts and will be implementing significant improvements in response. Starting with this update, new difficulty levels will be added to bosses and rifts. Makes sense. We're getting a new level cap, so getting a higher difficulty level makes sense. Beyond these new difficulties, a bonus called Highest Difficulty Bonus will be added, allowing you to earn additional Kane and T points. Great. We definitely could use more sources of that. The event's been great, but that is limited. Furthermore, similar to Lux Phantasma's repeatable stages, a function will be added that allow players to consume up to 3 boosters at once. There it is. We finally are getting it. Now that they've released the 3rd chapter, they're like, all right, fine, you can eat up boosters now, and double the number of award draws you receive based on the number of boosters consumed. Good. We've all been asking for it, and I'm pretty sure we all saw it coming. Changes to the par. Oh, are they going over it now? Changes to par. We'll be changing the specifications for par to partially remove the tier restrictions so that substats will be inherited if the tier is higher than the Patamon select at the time of use. I guess that's nice. I really wouldn't care to use the pars for anything below tier 8 though, so We understand that this change may be met with mixed reactions due to the increased frequency of Kane consumption associated with using par. Man, it's funny. Every time I'm like, I have like some kind of a feeling about something, they're like, we understand exactly what you're thinking right now. However, we're making this change to maintain players' motivation to strategize with overworld Patamons, ensuring they receive similar attention to those obtained from Fractal Vice. I don't really know what this means going forward. It just means that par is going to work for like lower tier stuff. Again, I don't think it's necessary, and it kind of just wastes par. Like you kind of have to now burn all of par inside of Fractal, so that way you don't burn some outside of it, because then it's just kind of wasted. As mentioned earlier, we will continue to review and balance resource acquisition by increasing both sources and amounts of Kane, which should help reduce this stress in the future. Good. Patamon filtering feature. Filtering will finally be added. Thank you all for patience while we work on getting this feature implemented. We will also plan on adding an automatic compression function in a future update. I was about to say, I'm like, this is the thing that people care about more when it comes to Patamon. Just because it's such a pain in the ass to try and delete them. As a brief side note, unrelated to game content, we'll be adding a limited time shop that uses paid Enigma entities in version. So for people who did the refund, you know, they went kind of hard in the refunds during the launch. They're trying to get people to burn the paid sources there. Skins that were previously only available from Wonder Boxes will now also be featured periodically in the shop for direct purchase. Keep an eye out. Your favorite character skin might be featured soon. Bless, because I really want that sick Roku skin, the anime one. Additionally, we are planning to sell several items to help those who cannot spend much time playing the game progress efficiently. Basically, this is just a whale shop. Burn your paid gems and we'll give you resources and whatnot, so that way maybe you don't have to play the game as much. And details on the first update after the big update. The current Fractal device has several issues that we plan to address through a major overhaul. Major overhaul? Due to the extensive nature of these changes, we'll introduce them gradually. New Fractal device Hegemony is scheduled to launch on April 24, so 13 days from when I'm recording this, 1 week after the Chapter 3 update. Encourage you to first enjoy Neo Chiyoda City and the Chapter 3 story before preparing to tackle the upcoming FV. Furthermore, we are planning an update aimed at improving FV to coincide with the timing of support contract switches in the future. I was like, what is support contract? It's the battle pass. Okay, cool. In this update, we also plan to implement character balance adjustments that we will discuss later in this letter. Okay. That you got my attention here. They're about to make my guides fucking worthless. They aim to maintain a balanced game environment long term, enabling players to enjoy many kinds of team compositions. I love to hear that. Separating the Red Limit series from FV. I did see a little bit about this. Battles with the Red Limit series can only be channeled in special space. Oh, I skipped ahead too far. Once you reach the space related to the target boss, you can move directly to that space without going through a Fractal device from now on. Let me skim this real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so this is a sick change after I read through it. I thought they were just making it so you could skip to the boss fights, but they're making it so they're kind of separating it from it, so you have to still clear all the way to the end of Fractal device and then beat the boss. What they're doing is moving it to a different area, so you just have to beat the boss once, and then whenever FV ends up resetting, you can just jump straight to the boss, as long as you've already beaten that boss and gotten to them before. And because they're separating it, battles with the Red Limit series have been separated. You can now rematch them at any time. That's great. That's fucking cinema. I love those fights. They're just a huge pain in the ass to get to. Like doing my hit list run, I can't tell you how many attempts that was and how long it was just climbing through FV repeatedly over and over again. Huge pain in the ass. New map feature. We've added an overall map screen where you can see the entire Fractal device. You can now check routes and the number of treasure chests you've obtained. Holy shit, that's amazing. It's nothing but goated changes just going forward. Unfortunately, all this stuff is, again, it's going to be a week after the big update, so 2 weeks from now, roughly. Changes to unlocking gates. Within a given week's run of FV, once you defeat the so-called gatekeeper, the corresponding gate remains open for the rest of the week. It just keeps getting better. On floors you've already cleared once, this makes it possible to employ playstyles like quickly defeating remaining enemies efficiently in groups. Awesome. In Hegemony, which is Fractal, we are revising the overall difficulty. Enemies will become significantly stronger as you venture into deeper layers. We're also removing all rifts for returning within the floors. Oh, the exits. To return, you'll need to clear the boss floor that matches your current difficulty level. You can access the boss floor from floors 1 to 4, where you face a boss appropriate to your difficulty level. Cool. Instead of Red Limit series bosses, you'll encounter ferocious enemies and familiar foes like Brave Diver and Shark from your previous adventures. Some of these bosses may exceed the levels typically available in normal play, ensuring challenging battles even with familiar opponents. This is cool. I'm all for these changes. They sound like they're just making Fractal more fun in general. Scoring and rewards. That's a lot of chests. That is beautiful. How much is that? That is 5, 10, 15, almost 20. Assuming this gives you some stuff besides just the EX materials. That's what? Like 100k Kane right there. That's beautiful. Clearing a boss floor causes 2 types of chests to appear. Lux chests. A quantity determined by your score at that point, and 1 special test which can be obtained once per week. same as it is now. Different from the chests found normally on the floors, these score-based deluxe chests can be earned repeatedly on subsequent clears. What? This change aims to prevent a situation where players who could clear the original Fraxel without problems up to the deepest level might now only be able to clear up to floor basement 2 in Hegemony, which could result in a decrease in the total number of Patamon obtained or require more time for Patamon selection time than before. In addition to this, we are implementing several improvements to make it easier to select Patamon and to provide a greater sense of progression. Look, I don't know all the changes that are going to be coming for this new Fractal update, but I'm really looking forward to it. This all looks really good. Limits mentioned briefly in the Fractal Vice. I'm going to skim this real quick and then we'll summarize. Okay, so it looks like they're just saying that they're separating the red limit boss fight separately, so that way you can get the end of cleared chest without needing to do the boss. Something about as well, we've prepared some exceptionally challenging optional bosses available to fight once you've cleared chapter 3. So maybe just variants or just being able to refight bosses that become available in chapter 3. Defeating them on their highest difficulty setting rewards players with a unique medal corresponding to each boss. And then they say they're not going to tie any rewards behind that. I think this is... I'm a little mixed on this change, you know, I'm not trying to be gatekeepy or elitist, but I think that's kind of the fun of progression, is like kind of having a wall that you have to surmount and them kind of taking those walls out. I guess, you know, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Maybe it's not as, maybe I'm looking into it in the wrong way. Fatal attacks. All right, let's watch this GIF real quick. Fatal attacks. Okay, that's just Backgammon's big dive move that I fucking can't stand, because I haven't fought Backgammon a whole lot. I've mostly just done a lot of Solitaire, but not much Backgammon, so the timing on this move throws me off. And then this is just a screenshot. Starting with the Hegemony edition, including existing Red Limit series, warning attacks will be replaced with a new attack called Fatal Attacks. If you're hit by this attack, you'll be inflicted with a Perilous State, which increases the damage you take for a certain period. Perilous State is a stacking effect up to a maximum of 3 stacks. At max stacks, the multiplier becomes so high that the next hit will definitely knock you out. That sounds funny. That sounds kind of a pain in the ass too, though, for people who have done like built AFK teams like with Roku and whatnot, because if that's like pretty much guaranteed to kill him, that kind of sucks. Duration of 1 stack is not very long, so if you're hit by a fatal attack, we recommend playing it safe and prioritizing recovery from the Perilous State. So if it doesn't last very long, like it's not like bosses spam fatal attacks, we'll see. Looking into it maybe a little too much. For players who have already figured out the attack patterns of Backgammon and Solitaire, this change should not significantly impact the gameplay feel, even with builds centered around characters like Saigo. Again, they've predicted exactly what I've said, who specializes in damage reduction. It's still possible to withstand attacks and win as before if you properly deal with the fatal attacks. Man, these guys are mind readers. Game balance, there's more. God dang, there is a lot in this developer note. In the version 1.0 environment, we designed the game assuming it is a base player level of 40, with level 50 being attainable only for those who had defeated the Red Limit series. However, shortly after launch, we made several changes to the game. These changes allowed many players to reach level 50, and removing the card tension consumption made players even more powerful. We now recognize that these adjustments have made enemies too weak to pose a meaningful challenge against players' increased firepower, more or less, I'd say. While we appreciate this power progression reflects our players' dedication to strengthening their characters, it reveals a deeper issue. The current lack of gameplay depth means players don't feel sufficiently rewarded for character advancement. Sure. With that in mind, and based on our current development progress, we are continuously working on adjusting battles, starting with increasing the enemy difficulty in Chapter 3 and Fractal. That said, we also recognize that for those who prioritize enjoying the story, this increase in difficulty may be causing more stress than intended. Therefore, we plan to distribute the difficulty across the game's 4 main pillars: story, post-story, FV, and then the Red Limit. Particularly, we plan to adjust the difficulty of the story progression to make it smoother than the current experience. Furthermore, within FV, we plan to establish clear difficulty differences between floors 1 and 4. Taking all of this into account, in the upcoming version 1.1.0, okay, so the update in a week, the big update, we will reduce the number of enemies and areas that are part of the main story progression, make adjustments in future updates, so battle difficulty in Chapter 3 is somewhat easier. Regarding the Chapter 1 boss Shark, while some players were satisfied with the challenge, we've confirmed that many others felt compelled to stop playing because of it. That's too bad. We hope to make it possible to enjoy the story comfortably as soon as possible. So they're just reworking difficulty across the board over time, and it looks like here they're just going to be making some changes to story progression, the bosses maybe. I think you can already reduce the difficulty though, so. But also maybe removing some enemies, so maybe it's easier to walk around maps too. Our roadmap, okay, that's sick. So April 17th in 6 days till who knows? Or actually, I don't know what they're talking about here. A new character, Hinogiku Akiba, new boss. Ooh. Oh yeah, you saw a little bit in the trailers, that's right. Looks like 3 new bosses, that's great. Improving the 9 log, the Rift in the Par, okay, things we already read about. Then the week after, the FV rework and the Hegemony edition, and then somewhere between May and June. So the next 2 months, we're like in the middle of April right now. New character, Ichinosuke Akiba. Okay, so related, these two. Oh wait, all of them. All of them have the last name Akiba. Saizo Akiba. This character I like a lot. I love the Mita little design characters. They look fun, they look goofy. Special battle content, and I think we can already tell who this obscured is. Spoilers for chapter 2. Skip ahead like 30 seconds. This definitely looks like Sui right here. So we're finally, I guess, going to be able to fight him, which is interesting that he's like the only boss that's available or that's happened in the game that you aren't able to refight, unless I'm missing something from chapter 1, but I'm pretty sure we fought everything in chapter 1. A new side story. I don't know if they might have considered the Sudoku event to be a side story, so I'm curious if it's something different or if it's more of that. More events coming soon. Expect more events in the near future. I think this is something the game is severely lacking. Like, the new story update is huge. It's exactly what I want. You know, the most important aspect for me is the story. I think it's very interesting. I think it's a lot of fun to play through. It does just feel like you're playing like some kind of an action RPG. But as far as like a live service game goes, there's not been a lot of events going on really at all to kind of keep you wanting to come back in and play some more. It's really just been do Fractal and then the Sudoku event, grind that as much as you want. Some game balance updates, cool. And then July, so 3 months from now, chapter 4. So yeah, they did say they want to try and do a big story chapter or big updates every 3 months. So that is completely in line. Along with the new city, we'll add bosses, ferocious enemies, new characters. Look forward to this major update. I am. I'm excited for this one, and I'm definitely excited for Chapter 4. Actually, let's see. I probably really won't be able to garner much because I have obscured it a bit. No, it's too... Actually, no. This is a mouth. This is a mouth. This almost looks like fucking Metal Greymon. Or like Metal Tyrannomon. So I don't know. A big metal dinosaur, maybe. Looking like nostrils. There's the teeth. Yeah, it looks cool. Starting with Chapter 3 and onwards, plan to add new chapters and cities in a 3-month cycle to Tribe. April, renewed Fractal will appear 1 week after the big update. Starting in May, battle-focused event will be added. Cool, definitely been needing that. This event is designed to be slightly over the top, allowing even casual players experiment with different team combinations, see damage numbers beyond the usual range. Okay, that sounds really fun. Over the top probably just means it's going to be some crazy modifiers you can mess around with and really just go to town, so that sounds great. Also provides challenging battles for hardcore FV players, giving everyone the freedom to play at their preferred difficulty level. Cool. This battle event, like Lux Phantasma, is also scheduled to be held for a longer period. In addition, we plan to hold somewhat smaller events every 1 to 2 weeks. Great, that's exactly what we need. Regarding side stories, including current Lux Phantasma, back with the mind reading, we have received a lot of positive feedback and are considering reorganizing the flows so that they can become permanent content in the future. Cool. I think it's weird when developers put in so much work. Like, one of the ones I remember is in Zenless Zone Zero. There was like an Arknights mode, and it was neat. I mean, I'm not really huge on any of these like being permanent additions, but it's so weird to me that they put in so much time, effort, and resources, obviously, and then they just go away and never to be seen again. This will be a rather large-scale change, so it will take some time to implement. However, we are prepared to share some news by the next time the side story is released, so please stay tuned for further updates. So neat. I think the biggest thing is really just saying that the side story is going to be falling in line with kind of like the Lux Phantasma, where there's going to be some story alongside whatever it is you're going to do in the event. Improvements and oh my gosh, it just keeps going. It keeps on giving. We are also preparing updates that will improve the quality of life for our players, including functional enhancements. Among these, we have received a lot of feedback, particularly to Minato, stating that the map structure and connections are difficult to understand. I get that. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell where you can go, you know, when it comes to, especially when they start adding in like verticality, and some of those like like it's like the northeastern parts of Minato, they gotta get confusing. Like this section they're highlighting right here, where you're constantly going like up and down the buildings. It definitely does get confusing. So it looks like with this screenshot, they're going to be adding in like a proper minimap. You're not just gonna have little blips that show like maybe potential points of interest. So definitely a welcome change, something it'll actually make this thing valuable. In addition, we are working on many other improvements such as features that will make it easier to check synergy effects and buffs and debuffs during battles. Thank you. Thank you. When I've been testing guides, like trying to like keep track or pay attention to buffs is so hard. You can check like your stat changes, but if it changes constant, it's a huge pain. So for people making content, that's a huge welcome change, as well as just like theory crafters being able to really see all the stuff going on. Following the new chapter's release, we will implement regular balance updates focusing on character adjustments. Oh yeah, they mentioned that earlier. Updates aim to strengthen underused characters, creating more diverse options for team compositions. Characters that were released at launch will particularly need ongoing balance updates to keep them viable, since they tend to become weaker as the game evolves. And some of them already are. I've also received some feedback that characters' transcend effects feel underwhelming. Is that the dupes? I'm gonna assume it's the dupes. While we plan to strengthen these effects to make them more impactful, such adjustments require careful balancing. We ask for your patience. With that said, we plan to implement some initial numerical adjustments to Q, Yakuichitaru Senju, and Minami Oi. It's good. It's good. I'm 100% happy about this. They've mentioned my boy Q. It's the like #1 character I've wanted adjustments on for a long time. It's just a little sad to see. It looks like it's just going to be numerical, but it's still great. Definitely welcome. Definitely want to see that going forward. That'll be all since the game's launch on February 20th. Wow, it's been 2 months. We initially received a lot of feedback. However, thanks to everyone's support, able to recover a very positive review on Steam. We celebrate that. We'd like to extend our sincerest gratitude to everyone beyond what we've introduced today. We have prepared several additional updates and improvements to enhance your adventures in Neo Tokyo. It'd be interesting to see whatever other things that they have not shown us yet. Hope to continue providing you with further updates in the future, so we appreciate your patience. In the upcoming major update, we've prepared a major update that will significantly change the environment with a new city, new characters, and new Patamon. More dramatic developments. Hope you pay attention to new numbers, but the actions of Q will be a key person in the upcoming story. And there's a little dancing at Zero. So this developer note has been very exciting. It's way longer than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be a nightmare to edit a lot of my rambling and whatnot out, but yeah, this is very exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to the new update stuff. The new characters, you know, it's drawn it in a new light. I didn't think I was really gonna go for this character, but now I'm like, maybe I want her. She seems a lot of fun. So that's about it. Let me know down below what you guys think of the new update. You know, what's been going on in Tribe recently? You know, what have you been doing? If you've been doing Fractal, you've just been grinding away on Lux Phantasma. You know, are you going for any of the new characters? I'm excited, and I hope you are as well. Thank you for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, or don't. See ya.